Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, and we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin charts. So Bitcoin on the 4 hour, as you can see, we are still making lower lows, bouncing around this lower part of our wider range. So we are in a potential descending channel, but obviously we are at the bottom part of that descending channel. So whilst they are statistically more likely to break to the upside, they 100% don't break to the upside when they are at the bottom side of it. So we've got to try and make a move back towards, well, at least 33,000 before we can entertain the idea that this is going to break to the upside. And whilst we are at the lower side of this channel, we are obviously inching closer to our major level of support, that if we lose, then we will certainly be looking at lower levels. So not too much to say other than that, other than it is now the weekend. So it is not, obviously, as you guys will no doubt be aware, it is the weekend, so we could get some erroneous price action. Maybe we get a move up to the top of the channel, and then we get slammed back down. Maybe we get slammed below the bottom of this support, and then get wicked and brought back up like in a bear trap fashion. We've got to watch out for those possibilities. But I mean, if I did have to guess, I would just lean on the side that we are just going to trade sideways, maybe drift slightly towards the upside, and then potentially come back down and test towards the lows on Monday, when CMEs and major markets open, and then decide, do we slam below or do we get bought back up? I don't think we are going to be residing above this support level for much longer, as in going into next week. I think we will either lose it, or we will start to move away from it. Our other barometer of the health of the crypto market is hanging around there. It is awaiting Bitcoin's move. It is waiting to see if we can pull away from that lower level of support, and if we can, then this will probably move to the upside, and if we can't, this will probably move to the downside. The dollar pairing, also the fiat pairing, is running into our next level of support. Obviously losing this important level, this was the next area. So yeah, we're running into this. Obviously we want to get supported here, trade sideways and turn back up. We want to put in a higher low relative to these lows here, and then yeah, that will potentially not look so bad. But there's a lot of if buts and maybes there. The 10-year yield is coming down, so obviously that is indicating that there is potential risk in the market, and that there is fear. There is a correlation between spikes in the repo basically market, and the use of the repo market, and the money gets put with the Fed, and also basically yields declining. So that indicates that it is basically deflationary, and deflationary is not good. But deflationary fears will sharply prompt the Fed to then actually do something. This could be just be another one of the sorts of taper tantrums that the market does to force the Fed's hand. Also, we have the dollar index still looking good up here, still looking good. Still looking good, as you can see. We're testing these highs. Do we break above this level and continue upwards, or do we come down? There are a few things that I shall make you guys aware of with the dollar, with the DXY. The DXY is obviously a relative trade to other currencies. The dollar will, as a world reserve currency and a risk-off asset, will do well. It will act bullishly in basically periods of economic downturns. Also in periods of time when we are in economic good times, but the US is doing particularly well, then the DXY will still rally in those scenarios, even though stock markets and everything will be looking good. And what is usually the case for when the DXY is bearish is that everything is looking good, basically the America is sort of like a middle of the road economy relative to the rest of the world that it's having like either commodity booms or whatever sorts of booms are having, particularly in emerging markets, but just in other developed markets as well. But yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that dollar strength can actually equal basically good for markets, but outperformance for the US, which is why the US's currency is doing well. It can actually also indicate basically just an overall economic downturn for everybody, and then bearish DXY will almost always mean that the overall world economy is doing well, but the US is not particularly doing any much better than the rest of the world. And I mean, with all the things that are kind of going on in America and the rest of the world and all that jazz, then maybe we are to expect, if we are going to get upside in world economies, that the America won't necessarily outperform, in which case we should expect a bearish DXY. But this is more of a macro view. We are obviously just looking at the chart. I mean, if we take out this high, if we take out this high, then we got to be looking for higher prices. So realistically, it is a do or die level for the Bitcoin bears, for the dollar bears, and we basically have to turn this round from here. This has to act like an ascending wedge and then come down. I mean, if this does break down, this will not look like erroneous top in action. It wouldn't look like anything that couldn't have been predicted. But yeah, I mean, we just got to see. I mean, we are doing well in the dollar. The dollar is holding up well. So yeah, there we go. We need to see what happens. But then, like I said, this could be, if the US is going to outperform, and the global markets are going to do well still, then that is still could be good. That's still good for risk assets, even in a dollar appreciating environment. Bitcoin dominance as well, as you can see, holding above its level, so it is threatening to make further moves to the upside. But I mean, basically the whole market is basically holding its breath to see what happens with this level. Do we lose it this time, or do we push off it again? And I think if we do push off it, the move up will be pretty sharpish, I think. And it could potentially even get us back up to the 40,000s. Then maybe we trade out in the middle and move back onwards and upwards. But obviously, if it just play out to the downside, then yeah, I mean, it will obviously also be a pretty sharpish move down. But I think there is a clear and present danger, a risk of a of a bear trap, with moves down even as deep as 26, 27, and then getting brought back up into this range and then slingshotting back to the top, and then potential. Well, I mean, we'll just see what happens after, but potential consolidation and then onwards and upwards. So yes, that is about it, guys. Not too much else to say here. Weekend price action, so I mean, we could get some wild stuff, but I wouldn't necessarily be expecting too much. But yeah, we shall see. This is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.